Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This episode is brought to you by Omaze, who is doing something very, very cool right now. Through Omaze, you can win a dream road trip across the Pacific Northwest with me, Rob Ferretti, Dave Patterson, a bunch of our friends, and more, in a brand new C8 Corvette, all expenses paid. They will fly you and a friend to Seattle, where you will be handed a C8 Corvette from Gotham Dream Cars that's been shipped there for you, and you will embark on a 2,000-mile epic road trip across some of the Pacific Northwest's finest roads. I will be there with my wife. Dave Patterson will be there with his lady. Rob will be there as well. It's going to be a fantastic time, and they are even giving you a $1,000 gas card. All of it benefits Team Rubicon, which is an extraordinary charity I really encourage you guys to look up. They do great work. We love it, and that's happening in July, but the contest goes from now until April 24th. So go to omaze.com/thesmokingtire. That's omaze.com/thesmokingtire to enter, and you could go on a road trip with me, Rob Ferretti, and a bunch of our friends in your very own borrowed C8 Corvette. Do it. Also, in our BlipShift store right now, blipshift.com/TST, we've got a brand new shirt from now through April 16th only. Get it while it's hot, folks. It's the Canyon Run. If you haven't seen the movie The Cannonball Run, this is a takeoff from the movie The Cannonball Run's movie poster with Burt Reynolds and Roger Moore. It is with me and Zach as me as Burt Reynolds and Zach as Roger Moore. It's got the Lambo on it. It's got my van. It's got Zach's BMW. The guys at BlipShift really nailed this one. This is a very cool design. It's only on sale for 2 weeks only, so you can go to blipshift.com/TST and get it in a short sleeve, a long sleeve, or get it in a hoodie. All are available. Get it now. 2 weeks only, now through April 16th at blipshift.com/TST. All right, folks, on this episode, we go back to the east side with our old pal Rob Ferretti, calling in from the Gotham Dream Cars warehouse. He's put a couple 100 miles on their new C8 Corvette rental car, so he's going to give us his review, as well as talk about the state of business. We're talking about the trip we're giving away with Omaze and adventure drives and what that's going to be like. And before we even get Rob on the phone, Zach and I are going to give you our review of the first week with the Valentine 1 Generation 2 radar detector. It's the Smoking Tire Podcast. Here we go.
What up? It's the Smoking Tire Podcast. What's happening remotely, everybody? Everybody now, from your own homes. Hello. What's happening? We're going to try... We're evolving our technology, and we are trying new things. In this one, we're going to try doing a half hour of radio and then having Rob Ferretti call in mid-show. This is, first it was like Spinelli and his wonky-ass audio, which Zach spent 3 hours fixing. Thank you, Zach. Then we had Thaddeus from Dubai, which I'm not sure what went different there, but it needed no fixing, or very minimal fixing.
Yeah, I think it was a problem on Spinelli's end.
That's enormously surprising.
He tried to call into Zoom today on a tangent happy hour thing and couldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. And so today, Rob Ferretti's going to call in mid-show. No prep. Do it on the fly. I love it. From the East Coast. And he was going to be here the whole time, but then I think he realized he was at home and needed to be at his shop to do it or something like that?
Yeah, he realized that his better audio and cameras and everything are at his shop.
All right. Well,
I feel like he just wants to go to the shop to show off the cars and his new C8.
Oh, did he just want a new background?
I think he wanted the background to show off the C8.
Oh, maybe he wanted a better background, Vinny.
Which is fine, because we can ask him about the C8, so that's not bad.
Well, I had on my list. I made notes because I do show prep now. When I can't, I don't have things to do.
You don't have a guest, yeah, might as well.
Well, I don't. Normally, we're doing things, so we don't have to do much.
Do we consider
show.
Rob a guest?
Of course, he's a guest. His name's going to appear in the title of the show.
All right.
That makes a guest. I went for a drive this morning. Zach and I spent half of yesterday, and then I spent half of today testing radar detectors.
Yeah.
We've got the Valentine 1 second gen, which is inexplicably not called the Valentine 2.
V1G2.
In the video, I pretty much exclusively call it Valentine 2 because it's just like...
Might as well.
It's 2 less syllables. It's probably because someone copyrighted Valentine 2 as soon as the
I'm
Valentine
sure.
1 came out, and Mike Valentine was like, I'm not fucking with that.
There's
Something
a
like
Valentine 2 website out there.
that. There might be, but it's the Valentine 1 Gen 2, and so we compared it against my Valentine 1 Gen 1 and Vinny's Uniden R7.
Yeah.
So we have a whole video about that, but we can also give it away here because I think it's fine. And not give it away, literally, not give away the Valentine 2,
no.
but we could talk about it.
But if Valentine wants to send us one to give away to our listeners,
They don't
maybe-
do that.
No,
They don't need to.
They don't.
They don't even
don't.
they don't even use third-party sellers. You can
Nope.
only buy it off their website.
They're the Chick-fil-A model of radar detectors.
Yeah,
They're
they're
vertically
like,
integrated.
They're like, look, we got it right the first time. We took a 20-year vacation. People kept buying them. Now we make the Gen 2.
Well, they were
Right.
smart because you could also send in your old one and update it with like whatever the new software and all the new hardware and anything. Like you could literally send your very, very first Valentine to them and they'd update it to whatever the closest thing was. So I was more
I
curious.
sent mine in twice,
Yeah.
I believe, over its life for updating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I
I've never
sent
done
it
that.
in like 2004 and then again around 2010 or 11.
Did you notice a difference or anything? Like, I haven't done that with mine.
The first one was a major difference. I think there was a big one and then kind of a smaller update. And then the Valentine 2, Gen 2 is all new hardware. It's like a whole new thing.
What did you think of the updated interface and display and all that? I mean, it's a little smaller, a little bit more svelte, but they said that all the mounts will stay the same. So if you've got like a blend mount or you've got your power cord or you've got anything already integrated with your Valentine 1, you literally just unplug your V1 Gen 1 and plug in your V1 Gen 2.
Basically you can do that. It's also got this other thing called Savvy, which is a little guy, which I've got here. Where is it? I didn't open it yet, but it's this thing, which is a little module that replaces your. Oh wait, is that it? It replaces the hardwiring kit,
Oh, cool.
and it's what it does is it goes into your OBD2
Oh, shoot.
port, and so it has a manual scrolly wheel on it that you set your speed. And it's the speed below which it shuts up. So if you set it to like 40, it won't make a peep below 40. And that works.
Wow.
You can get that for the old one too. And so it powers it. It
Yeah.
replaces the hardwire in terms of powering.
Yeah.
And then it also sets this limiter thing. So what Zach and I talk about in the video and what Valentine 1 did and what the Valentine 2 does is it gives you all the information it can gather, and then it gives you a couple of methods of filtering out the amount of information you want to filter out. So it's got like a couple different built-in like pre-programmed modes, like regular, and then logic and advanced logic, and that filters out different levels of K and X band.
That's kind of cool.
And then it's got the app, and you can just fully turn off K, X, or...
The app's nice to change the settings and stuff with.
Yeah, in the first Valentine one, you had to do this weird doot thing to turn off the bands, which you had to do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it was super annoying. And some people would be like, what do you mean? Yes, the reason Valentine 1 was good was because you could deactivate bands. That was a good one too.
Yeah.
But so now you can do it in the app if you want to do that. But what was I going to say? What was I saying there? The logic modes. Oh, the interface. Yeah, it's just one button now, and so adjusting, and there's volume buttons on top as well.
Yeah.
So the power knob is gone.
Which I liked. I kind of liked that.
Yeah, I liked it too. But it's all right. I'm not, you kind of set the volume you want once, and then there it is. It's sort of.
I mean, you don't really mess with it a lot.
I think I play with mine a lot, but I think it wouldn't be a reason I wouldn't buy it.
Do you?
I do.
You do play with
both
your
while
knob a lot?
driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Radio and Valentine 1.
So Zach and I drove 100 miles yesterday, and I drove another 150 miles today.
Jesus.
With all 3 radar detectors on the dash. So finding cops was actually very easy. We found a lot of cops.
Just not shooting radar?
Finding cops shooting KA radar was very difficult. It took us all of yesterday, and it took me most of the morning to find even a single bit of KA radar. Although we also had Waze going, and Waze pointed out the location of many, 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 many cops that we're not shooting any form of radar or laser.
They usually
Well,
don't
I
always.
think now that I'm thinking about it, they were basically like supervising all the construction zones. You know, where they do like they park there with the lights on. It's just for safety. I'm wondering if they move those construction projects to daytime because they're normally nighttime on the 405, just because there's less traffic.
Well, they've moved I moved all public roadworks is now fast tracked because traffic is so much lighter.
Wow.
So you're going to see tons of construction going on around it. Like we cut up the sidewalk today.
Yeah.
Like why today? Because closing a lane of Centinela makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of that. So there's definitely cops around construction sites. We also saw cops speed trapping, but either using instant on and we didn't get them at a time that they were hitting it, or within a car with a laser gun.
Yeah.
And so in that case, a radar detector doesn't help you very much. I did get some KA this morning. Finally, the Valentine 1 Gen 2 picked up the faint signal 4 seconds about before the other 2 units picked up anything.
Ooh, wow.
And then all 3 of them got a hard signal at the same time after that. So a sample size of 1. That's all I could get. Like we're not Vortex Radar. We don't own a gun. We don't have a cop. Like we were just doing the best we could with what we had. And it's very hard and time consuming to find cops shooting radar. It really is. And so admittedly small sample size, but and I think Zach can probably chime in a little bit on this. The Valentine 1's advanced logic mode did a better job of filtering K-band than the Uniden or the other Well, I have the X-band deactivated in Valentine 1, but the Valentine 1 Gen 2 could differentiate a little bit between a your speed is radar sign and just a standard highway sign, whereas the Uniden really couldn't.
I probably should have tweaked the Uniden a little bit, because the last time I used the Uniden was on a highway, and I had all the settings were for highway settings, so I had everything kind of open so that
we were on a highway.
We were on a highway too.
Oh, sorry, it was a freeway. Maybe that's different. It is a densely populated area, so even if you're on a highway here, there's a lot of stuff around.
Like if I go to like Vegas or Phoenix and I'm out in the middle of nowhere, I usually will crank all that stuff up. So like if there's even a hint of a radar somewhere in the desert. Like I know
I do that too.
Well, I would do the same thing in a V1. If I'm going cross country, I would leave X band on, or I leave K band on, because you never really know. But around LA, it's not.
I think in most of California, like they have K radar or laser here.
Yeah. So the video's coming out. I just finished shooting this morning, but like, ultimately, I think so far anyway, in first week of driving it, like Valentine 1 Gen 2 definitely delivers.
I really like it. I like the functionality. I like the app that you can turn things off and on. The arrows are great. This display is bright. I had a thought about the.
It looks a little different from the Gen 1.
The Savvy thing, I realized though, when you plug it into your OBD2, can you like mount that knob closer to you, or is it directly attached to the OBD2?
No, the knob is on the Savvy module,
which is like right at your OBD2
port.
so
it's not the kind of thing where you'd really spin the Savvy knob on the fly.
Right.
You pretty much would go, I don't want this thing talking to me below 30, and that's kind of where it is. Yeah,
got it.
You have to really either have a flashlight or take the thing out to really adjust
or OBD2 extension, maybe something like that.
I guess, yeah, but it's not that thing. So you can also use the Savvy through the app.
Oh,
right. But the Savvy module also powers it. So you can use the Savvy module in your own car, right? And then if you take it to another car where you're using the portable cord, you can then use the Savvy with the app in the same exact way. Yeah. I don't really like messing with apps. Like I don't need every device to be connected. I know I'm like old and grumpy like that.
No, but
I would set it once, and then I just want it set once pretty much. So I just set it and leave it.
Some of the other radars, like the Cobras and the other one, they have these the apps that tie in with your phone. It's like I don't need my phone going off while I'm driving. Like that's what the radar is for.
Yeah.
And like some of the a couple of years ago, there was a big push on a lot of these where everything was going through like app based. It was like, oh, the radar is going to tie into the app and it goes off on your phone. It's like, I don't need a phone notification while I'm driving. Like that's what the radar is for.
I can understand why they did, because like just everything. Apps were just hyped. It was just apps,
everything
phone,
was apps.
phone.
I'm like, I have this because I don't want to be on the phone. Like, I usually will use a separate standalone GPS a lot of times when I'm traveling because I'm on the phone talking, and like if I need to do certain things, like I want to still have the map up while I'm there. And it's like people are like, I can't believe you still use a GPS when you just use. I was like, well, I have Waze going and I have everything else going, but like if I'm on my phone or I'm doing something, like I want to still have the map up, so I still use a dedicated GPS.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Everybody's got their own thing. So
I like the idea of being able to do major settings for the thing through an app.
I mean, listen, it's way easier on the app than hitting 3 buttons.
Yeah.
Hit the right button 3 times and the left button twice, and then when it beeps 3 times, you stand on your head, and then you turn the dial. Like some of those old settings were really difficult.
And so you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But
the unit in I have is kind of cool. It's a little bit more advanced as far as the settings because you can actually go through, and if you know your area's frequency on the radars, you can actually turn off specific Ka frequencies. So if like you go through and you're like, and you know that there's a specific frequency.
The problem is none of the Ks are cops. So you just want them all. You really want them all gone. I would say like with the Valentine 1 Gen 2, the advanced logic mode, they're pretty much all gone except for the actual radar signs. Those are really the only ones that stay. It filters the rest, and I'll take that. That's not bad.
And I think that's a good indication that should tell people like how old that tech is, like those guns, because now they're just on signs. That used to be the gun that was sold to a precinct for lots of money, and now it's like, hey man, we just leave it up in the rain.
There was a rumor like a year or two ago about some of these smaller towns going back to K radar guns just for that reason, though.
I can understand that.
You go through and you're like, oh, it's K, it's no big deal, and you blow through and it's like,
that'd be smart. Smart.
It would be smart, but also you really have to think about. Now, I don't have the numbers on this, and maybe someone could find them, but the percentage of people who are ticketed that are running a radar detector. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like this precinct really wants to go from the 3 or 4% of people who get tickets that have radar to 1. Like that's what we want. We need to trick those people. And as opposed to just like finding a better hiding spot.
Yeah,
That's true. I don't know. I that would be my guess. I'm not a.
There'll be a lot of things
expert.
Like, do they still have the old guns on the shelf? Do they still work?
Yeah.
Do they want to maintain them? Power them on? Now, if they do work, it would be very clever. You'd have to go, oh, Gumball's coming through here. Watch this shit. Yeah. That would be very smart.
Right.
And you just nail it with X-Band.
You also heard the rumors that cops were going on Waze, and when somebody would post that there was a cop, the cop would go on and unpost and say that they weren't there. Like the cops were using Waze and deleting themselves off of the Waze when they saw somebody would post them on it.
You'd have to have many accounts to do that because you have 5 or 6 people who mark off those cops. You know what I mean? If it's one guy says no, not there, but 5 or 6 people say yes, they won't go away. It won't go away.
You don't think so?
No. This is why Waze is good. We were talking about this in the video. Zach was kind of anti-Waze.
True.
But I think I might have changed his mind yesterday.
He did.
Because
you get addicted to it if you start using it.
It's not even about the directions. It's only about the cops.
Yeah.
Because Zach was like, fucking the goodness of people's hearts to spot cops. Fuck that. It's not the goodness of people's hearts. Waze is a game with points you can earn and real status you can earn. So remember on the Rally North America?
Yeah.
Remember them 2 guys in the blue BMW, the E46 M3?
Vaguely,
really nice guys.
Oh, right.
Jack was the guy's name. And they had spent a couple of months building up their Waze credits so that on the rally, when they would report shit, it would give them priority over other users.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually a game. So it's not the goodness of people's hearts. They're playing a little game.
It's like
an adult Pokemon.
Points. Yeah.
Adult Pokemon. That's funny. Yeah.
And also, a lot of people are like, fuck the police. There's enough that on a freeway passing a point, there's enough people that go, oh, fuck the police and fuck your hiding spot.
I think my thing was, there were 2 things. One, the directions in the beginning I hated because they would have me turning left across a 6-lane road at rush hour where Google wouldn't. So I used
disable.
I didn't know you could disable it. I just switched back to Google and I was fine with it. And I haven't really had a problem with Google directions, so didn't have a reason to go back to Waze. And then I think it was another thing for me to constantly look at, and I just went, okay, you know what? I don't trust that these police are always here, because there were a lot of times where someone marked there's a cop, there's no cop, and then I see again they mark a cop, there's no cop, and finally I went, fuck this, I'm stressing myself out by looking at this data that is then being proven wrong over and over.
That makes sense.
So I'll just use the radar detector and vision and not worry about like trusting this thing.
Yeah.
Now maybe it's gotten better, because that was genuinely 6 years ago that I gave up.
I don't think you should trust either on its own. I don't think either on its own, but like, I thought the Valentine 1 Gen 2, in the settings we had it, was very incrementally better than the Uniden. I mean, very, very incrementally.
Had I known that the Gen 2 was coming out, I bought the Uniden 6 months ago, and nobody knew the Gen 2 was coming out.
And we also didn't have a passport, and there's going to be people screaming at us, so we didn't have a passport. Honestly, I think the 3 high-quality units are all about equal in performance. I really do.
And the other thing people need to understand is, like, you don't just put a radar in your car and then go speed and it's good to go. Like, it takes time in a radar, because you subconsciously learn where certain things are and how sensitive it is and what's real and what's not. And like, you get this in your head, like, you have to train your brain to react, because you use that radar enough and it gets to the point where you hear that beep and you automatically react.
Yeah. Totally.
And a lot of times when they get a new radar and they hear that, oh, hey, neat, look, the lights are on, and like, by that time it's you've already gotten snapped.
Yeah, you need the muscle memory.
And the Valentines have a language that they speak in beeps and boops and shit, and it takes a little bit to like figure out what the language is, but once you train yourself, it's great. The Uniden speaks English, which is fine, but it just takes longer. Every time it speaks to you, like, more shit comes out of it.
Well,
so
and everybody's got their brand. Like, when the Valentine came out, like, everybody was like, oh my God, I gotta have the Valentine. And like, I was always an Escort guy. Like, I've been an Escort guy. Like, my dad had an Escort radar when like I could barely even drive. And
is that because you like the excitement of not knowing where the radar was coming from, but you knew that it was there? You know,
it just was one of those things. Like, I got used to the beeps on the Escort over the years.
Did you guys not watch the Weather Channel? You're like, I'll just go outside. We'll figure it out.
What a dick. So when the Uniden came out, I was watching Vortex radar, and the Uniden R7 had the best stats on, the Vortex radar guy tested them. And that was the one that he said, he's like, it's a little bit more of an advanced user, but it definitely has the best range and the best this and the best that. And it's like, based on the situation that I was in and what I needed it for, the R7 made the most sense. I was like, you know what, I'll try the Uniden and see what I think. And I was happy with it. And then, of course, 6 months later, I think
if you had it, if you went and bought it today, you'd be happy with it too. I think it's fine. It's just it operates slightly differently. It does the
Ford versus Chevy.
It does the GPS thing where you can mark an alert. So if you commute on the same route every day and you get the same false alert, you can just make that one go away, which some people like that. I don't have a regular commute. I'm just all over, so I don't like that way so much. So I think if you have had a V1 for a while and you upgraded to the V1 Gen 2, you'd probably be very happy with it. If you have a later V1 and you haven't deprogrammed X and K band, do that first before spending the money. But if you still don't like it, get this. If you've got the Uniden, you probably like it, and it's fine.
Because the Uniden shows the direction of radar also.
It's got arrows now.
It's got
arrows on the screen.
It's got arrows now.
It's got arrows now. The Uniden has a full LCD color display, whereas the V1 still does red lights. Now, maybe you want a little less light for night, and if so, the Valentine is the way to go. Maybe you want a bit of a brighter display because you do more daytime driving, and I think the Uniden's color LCD display was a little brighter during the daytime. So that's the Uniden R7 display. So you've got your arrows, you got your signal strength. It also shows your speed the whole time.
It shows the band there on the K band.
It also, that one has a GPS built into it, so it does display your speed the whole time, which maybe you don't want a cop to see when you go, I have no idea how fast I was going.
Great point.
Can you get a shot, Zach, of the display of the Valentine 1 Gen 2? Because it's really just it's this pretty much the same as the V1 with the dots and the lights, but just put behind sort of a piece of glass. There you go. It's basically just red lights. And so once although it does actually say, like, the V1 Gen 1, it had printed the band on the thing, and it just had a red dot next to the printed band. Now the band lights up, so you can actually read.
It's definitely easier to see, because sometimes when if the sun was hitting like across the front of it, it's just a dot, and you can't really tell. I mean, this might be a little bit brighter.
Better,
more indication.
No, they did a really good job. I really like the fact that all the hardware is cross compatible with the V1. So like I said, if you got it already mounted, you just unplug your old one, put the new one in, and it's good to go. So I really like that.
But the Valentine 2, in our unscientific, but we drove as far as we could drive in like 2 days and still do our shit. There's the savvy dongle right there, the OBD2 dongle. We found the Valentine 1 Gen 2 did pick up fainter signals a little bit quicker than the other ones.
And
it did.
And it had a couple of logic modes, right?
It has regular logic and advanced logic, and advanced logic did do a better job of filtering out Ks. Regular logic, it was too noisy for me. Yeah. And you can still do full band deactivation if you want to do that on a Valentine 2.
We should mention Valentine did not send this to us for free.
Fuck no, I bought this thing. It was like $450.
No, I'm just saying, like, we sound complimentary. It's like because we like it, not because we were sent it to test.
No, I bought it, and in fact, I think I bought it just in time because I think the factory shut down, and they're not shipping these until the virus is under control. So maybe I should just put this one on eBay right now. Let's fucking get her. Let's start the bidding.
Let's start our own small business loan.
But anyway, I'm going to keep my Valentine 1. So I'm not going to get rid of it. I think it's still useful. But I think I'm gonna switch to the Valentine 1 Gen 2 for from a day to day.
I've had one for 20 years. My brother bought it strangely. Like I was into cars. He's not into cars, but he did get a lot of speeding tickets as like a 18-year-old. So he bought one, and I didn't even know what it was because I was driving a muscle car that could barely go 100 miles an hour. And then he gave it to me, and I've had it since, and it's remained relevant in that all that time.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got an old V1, you could probably send it in, and they'll update it as far as they can, and it'll definitely still be a relevant device. I mean,
absolutely.
As other folks were getting that Passport 9500, a lot of people got that, and by all accounts, great unit. I haven't heard anything really bad about it. Nick, our boy Nick Steinman, has got it. He loves it. But I had the V1 forever, and it just remained relevant even after they lost the patent on the arrows. It still is a totally relevant unit to use right now.
But look, I've been a Ford man for a long time. My dad's a Ford man. That's what it sounds like. You know, like our kids will be Valentine's.
Well, I mean, it kind of is because you get into radars and people are real brand. I mean, they're definitely brand loyal on.
They are.
On some of them, and it's really hard.
Well, it's like it's an expensive thing, and I think people do a good amount of research, and so you're making a pretty big decision, I think, and you're kind of hanging your license on it a little bit. So people are really passionate about that decision.
Yeah. I agree, and I think the top quality units I think are all very.
They're very good,
roughly equal in terms of their effectiveness. We should definitely get the Vortex dude back on the podcast. He was great. He was very interesting.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Our testing methods, not scientific.
He's been getting into dash cams and stuff too, which wouldn't be bad talking about. So it'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
See what the newest and latest of the dash cam world are.
The definition keeps going up,
dude,
right? It's crazy.
This morning though, I caught some. I mean, because the traffic is lighter, the troopers are out. I mean, they're out and they're all over the place, and they're getting speeders left and right.
Well, you saw. I don't know if you saw the article about them catching people in the canyons and.
Yeah, they're out for sure. But it was. I saw a couple this morning that had really, really good hiding places, and were like lasering from just invisible spots. It was really impressive. Oh, do we have a text from Rob that it's time to get him here?
Ready when you are.
Ready when you are. Okay, let's see if we can get a Ferretti.
Mike.
It is like it's not a trade-off that's worthwhile. I much would prefer to have life be normal right now and not this shit we're dealing with. But if you got to get around, now is a really, really nice time to be driving places. I got up to Castaic this morning.
Oh my God!
Which is where I filmed the Volvo V90 I'm driving, and I realized earlier this week that if you go north, that's where a lot of cops were in that corridor. So I went looking for cops, and that's where I went to film. But I mean, I got from Venice to Castaic, which is I think it's like 55 miles. I did it in like under 50 minutes, which is just really, really nice. What do you got going on there, Zach?
That first Friday that we had the lockdown, and I looked at 5 o'clock traffic on Google, and it was completely green with no red areas. I went, this is creepy.
Oh, yeah. The map of LA being green is that's some shit that you don't see. But it's like our enjoyment of non-traffic is there's casualties, dude. I got an email from one of my favorite restaurants this morning that was pretty much like, you know, we can't really do this takeout only thing, and you know, hopefully if it doesn't last more than another month, we'll be back. If not, who knows? And we got that message from AccuAir.
That's a big one.
Air suspension.
Yeah, that's a big one for this industry.
They were not able to weather that storm, and so they are.
I mean, it's a little strange because AccuAir is they're a big player. They're on the forefront of the technology with their air ride technology. I mean, they always have killer cars at SEMA. They always have killer products. They're constantly all over social media. But it's something to think about because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
No, there's almost certainly something else going on.
Yeah, because it's been 2 weeks, and then they're like, nope, we're bankrupt.
If you're a healthy manufacturing business like that, because they're not just like an installer, like they're a manufacturer, so something's not something else.
Yeah,
but
something else is going on.
They went down, and it's just, well, it's sad because I like them. Yeah, everyone I met who worked there was awesome.
Yeah, like I said, they had great taste in cars and products, and I mean, they literally were cutting edge of technology. They were the first ones to have an app on your phone and a wireless controller for your air ride and all the other things. I mean, I was going to put all the AccuAir stuff into my Caddy.
that is a tragedy.
So, oops.
Yeah.
I mean, I still can, and there's products are still going to be out there, but it's just there's not going to be support for it, and who knows? I'm curious to see who takes over that segment.
I wouldn't be surprised. They filed for bankruptcy, so I wouldn't be surprised if someone comes in and buys out their assets and their stuff. And
now would be a good time for somebody to do that.
If someone's sitting on cash, I think it would be all right.
I mean, just curious. I mean, like, what other parts of this industry are going to start are we going to start seeing that from? I mean, the wheel companies and then the paint companies and the and the guys like that. I mean, thankfully, the guys that we know, like the Craig Morrisons, he's got months and months of backlog cars, but like some of those customers are going to start, they put a deposit down. I'm going to build a $500,000 hot rod. It's going to take 2 years, and they got their orders, and then but what are they going to cancel them?
Maybe not.
True.
When we had the crash in 2008, it was a little different. People were spending money because they didn't want to lose it, and they said, "Look, I'm going to lose $500,000 in the stock market. I might as well spend it. I'll buy a $300,000 car. I'll play with it for a year, sell it for $200,000, but at least I got a year to play with a car, and I didn't just lose $500,000 and I won't see it ever again." Here, I think it's a little bit different because we didn't have the with everything being shut down. In 2008, they struggled, when the economy crashed, but everybody was just working through it.
Yeah, you lost your life savings, and some people lost their jobs, but it wasn't like all retail closed, all factories closed.
It's like, well, I'm gonna just get into this industry or whatever. It's like, no, that's closed. Can't do that.
Yeah, it wasn't just like the evaporation of industries.
No.
Yeah, I mean, everybody all at once stopped spending money. Oh, that's Rob.
But
can you hear us?
But we adapt.
I hear you just fine. How you doing?
Hey, Robin, how you doing,
Technology has been successful.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
But this is a good example. Like you adapt. So here we are. We can't have guests in the studio like we normally do. So we're having to adapt a little bit so we can still put out a quality product with subpar guests. But it's the best we could do. And,
listen. I don't think this is a quality product. He's got the C8.
I called it.
Well, yeah.
Got the C8 behind me. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I'm excited. I followed you on
Arms
Instagram.
looks good on you.
What's happening, Rob? How'd you doing?
Nothing much. Just sorry I'm a little late here. I was at the supermarket, which is not as easy as it sounds anymore.
Yeah.
Are you armed? Because that's usually how we have to go to the supermarket here.
Just there's things like my wife sends me with a list. I go with a list. I get the stuff. And then I get to the checkout counter. The guy's like, sorry, you can only have 2 milks. I'm like, well, my wife wanted an almond milk. My kid needs a lactose-free milk. My daughter drinks this milk. I need 3 milks. Well, you can only have 2. All right, great. We get to the pastas. You can only have 2 pastas.
What?
Like, what do you mean I can only have 2 pastas? I'm like, they're on sale 3 for $5. And I'm like, why would we? Yeah, but there's signs all over that say you can only have 2. I'm like, well, you're good at putting up signs. Why don't you get better at taking down the signs that contradict it?
That's one of the best stories I've heard yet.
And then tell me you can buy 2 of them.
That's one of the best stories yet.
I stopped by a store
I'm
this
pretty
morning.
easy going with that stuff. To me, I'm like, cool, it's saving me money. I can tell my wife I can't buy half this crap.
Yeah, sorry.
But like, I don't know. Then they've got everybody spaced out. You can only buy 2 cereals. So cereal, bread, milk, and
toilet paper.
And whatever.
Well, yeah,
else.
the cleaning supplies and stuff.
Come on, guys.
I went to a grocery store this morning and they rationed us to one package of toilet paper per family.
Yeah, but you're in California.
Yeah, they shit more here. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, not even that they shit. They just got weird rules that you guys are like, cool, we got good weather year round, so we'll just put up with it.
No, they can't. That was the rationing is an individual grocery store thing. But but people went a little nuts with the toilet paper, and so the toilet paper's all gone. And when it comes back, if it would be gone in 2 seconds if they don't ration it.
The waiting in line to get into Whole Foods is such an LA thing. Like I walk over there and I feel like if I walk up to the security guard and slip him a 20, he'll just let me in and I don't have to wait in line.
Yeah, but if you go to any of the other grocery stores, like everyone's going to like the biggest one that they can think of or where they normally go. And meanwhile, across the street and like a block from there is a Ralph's, and then down the street's a Vons, and they have no line and they're stocked up, and it's like it's just
don't go to Whole Foods in a fucking pandemic.
Or Costco.
Anyway, what's up, Rob?
So having good times over here. I'm sure you guys are having a good time over there. It's funny because people get to realize what our lifestyle is like a little bit more now, where it's like, hey, what day of the week is it? Or like, you sort of have to manage your own schedule completely differently. Like, remember to shower and do normal things that everybody else does before they go out the door in the morning. So it's nice to watch the rest of the world just sort of fall apart when it comes to that.
Do we need to intro Rob at all or no?
I mean, I don't think so. Rob Ferretti is one of the founders of Gotham Dream Cars, and Super Speeders, who was fucking selling DVDs before there was a YouTube.
Yeah.
Which in hindsight was very smart because it really conditioned an audience to pay for shit.
Yeah, but even then you had a bunch of people trying to pirate it, but it was less of a problem. And the only difference I really see, there's still the thirst for content. The big change was that people now want it on demand.
Yeah.
Like they want it essentially live, and then they want it delivered in a way that's like fully packaged and nice, but like as quickly as possible.
Oh, wait, you mean they want everything right now and for free? Fucking surprised me.
I learned that when I was making my last DVDs, where I'd make the video and they're like, great, where's the next one? I'm like, it just took a year to make this one. Now you want the next one like tomorrow. And that's when I stopped. That's when I stopped making DVDs and just went straight to YouTube with everything. And also the standards are less on YouTube. People will take, God knows, like the gibberish that ends up on YouTube that people watch.
It's insane.
They'll watch anything. It's a half hour. Great. Like Doug DeMuro, there's no reason he has to talk about a car for 48 minutes. People watch it though. They'll sit there and watch an hour. Like they wouldn't watch that as a television show. Everybody would tune out. So it's really weird how that sort of the audience adapted to that.
Yeah, it's
and that's
like
not based off of anything other than the fact that YouTube rewarded people from putting up longer videos by letting them put multiple ads on it. So everyone's like, well, it's got to be at least 10 minutes long to put multiple ads. So then they just started running them longer and longer to get more watch time, and that bumps them up in the algorithm. It's funny how that then bled over to the audience being okay with it instead of saying, why does this guy talk so much about this? Why doesn't he just get to the point?
I think it allowed like people, like audiences, to find exactly what they want, and there's a lot of people that were willing to watch like 30 minutes of every little button about a car.
Even before Doug started doing the 48 minutes on a car, like that Saab Kyle dude was doing those sort of dealership-y tours of cars where you'd press every button and go through the owner's manual, and he was getting huge views too, and Rob and I would scratch our heads going, who the fuck is watching this? And I say this, by the way, as someone who I love Doug. I hang out with Doug, and I think he makes me laugh, but like I don't watch his videos, and I'm not but so many people do. What am I missing?
It's interesting. It's interesting because your perspective and Rob's perspective as content creators are a little different than those of us that are end consumers. And it's like, I wonder, like, you guys can probably relate now to like guys that have, TV shows and they're watching, you make this TV show and you produce it and it comes out and, nobody watches it, but yet everybody's watching, The Simpsons or something, that they would consider as a content creator, they consider subpar, and like, how can you watch?
Moms.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, nobody's watching my PBS documentary, but they're watching Dance Moms. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, Jersey Shore.
Right. It's a great example. Like, everybody watches Jersey Shore, but nobody's going to watch this, this new, whatever new TV show is out. So it's interesting to see the perspective because you guys are going through it.
Speaking of, did you guys get to Tiger King in any podcast yet?
I watched it.
Did you watch
sure.
it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm like 3 episodes in. I got 2 more to go.
I didn't find anybody to really like in it except the dude with no legs, the dude with the two carbon fiber legs.
I could see that. What about the girl with the one arm who got their arm bitten off?
She didn't have a huge part there.
The going back to work after 5 days after getting your arm bitten off. I don't know. Taking one for the team there seemed a little unnecessary.
Yeah, she could have retired off of that. Yeah. I mean, I don't care what his insurance policy is. She's making $6 an hour. That $1 million would have gone a lot further if she would have just taken the check.
But I really could relate to the Walking Affliction T-shirt guy who drove the H2 Hummer and was a swinger and just bandana under baseball hat and just, oh God.
It's funny.
But it just shows that, and I don't get it and I never will. And again, I'm not trying to bash other YouTubers. I don't really care. Like, I don't generally watch very much of anything. But this whole Tiger King, I was watching it saying, like, what did people see in this? Like, it's
train wreck.
People watch My 600-Pound Life and all this, like, train wreck stuff. Yeah. I don't find it entertaining. I just, like,
it's not a matter of entertaining. I think people watch that and they feel better about themselves.
True. Yeah.
I mean, literally, that's the only reason I can see. Like, you flip through 600-Pound Life and you sit there and watch that girl, or you watch. There's another show with these 2 fat sisters. And it's like them,
Diamond and Silk,
something like that. I can't remember. And they're huge. And it's like you watch this and you're like, my life's not so bad. Like, this girl's...
I'm not out of shape.
This girl's in a minivan. Like, she has to get into like the sliding door of the minivan and sit on the floor. She can't even sit on the seat because she's so big. In Tiger King, you're watching all these things, like you said, with the carbon fiber legs and all this other crap. And it's like...
No, that guy was the most normal guy in the whole thing.
Yeah, the guy with the guy missing...
He just fell off a fucking zip line. There's nothing weird about him other than he's got no legs. Exactly. He was normal.
That was like a zip line accident.
They glossed right over that. That was 2 sentences, maybe. No, it's America loves the shit show, dude.
I think I think people do. Like, we used to have freak shows, 1800s, early 1900s.
Oh, same thing.
Come look at the bearded lady. Come look at the whatever else. Yeah. It's the same psychology. It's like, look at this thing that is so different from what your normal life is. And everyone goes, holy shit! And then you add in the factor, the thought of like, oh well, my life's not this bad.
Yeah.
Wow, what's going to happen next? Jersey Shore, you get people fighting. Like, it just adds all these different things that we've never seen before. And now it's like, here you go. It's on one screen.
Yeah, but it just drags, like, YouTubers and just people in general make content that ultimately gets watched. And like, I just had a video show up on my newsfeed about a guy complaining that the water was ending up in the engine bay when they washed the Corvette. And I'm like, well, of course it's going to end up in the engine bay. But everybody just like, why is this showing up in my Google newsfeed? But it just,
you might like,
there's water pooling in the engine bay. No, it's not. It's just going to run off or dry out. But like, water goes somewhere.
Yeah, no, there's too much of everything for sure. But I mean, look, hey, we're making content too. We're making fucking 90-minute video.
And look, I'm not going to say every piece of content I've ever made is like, I'm going to show that to my kids or anyone's going to be watching it in 100 years.
No, in fact, my most viewed video ever is trash.
Which one?
The fucking one of Paul Walker's cars. That was like a fucking hungover, throwaway, whatever. It's 10 million views.
Audio's bad. Shots are bad. We were all
garbage.
hungover.
We're all hungover.
That's got to be so frustrating. You put all this work into these things that you're like, oh my God, this is my masterpiece. And it's like, we're not going to watch that.
Definitive Paul Walker's collection video.
That shit you took on a video on your flip phone and then just edited it and posted it. Yeah, we're going to watch that forever.
People still watch it and they'll still comment like yesterday and they'll go, why is the audio so bad? And it's like, dude, 10 years of technology. Like,
yeah, why is this shot 4x3?
Yeah, exactly.
20 years ago.
Speaking of C8 Corvettes, though, how do you like that orange thing behind you?
It's awesome.
You having fun with it?
I can't find anything wrong with it. Now, you have to look at it through, and I don't know if you guys, I hope you didn't watch my videos, but I've made 2 or 3 videos on this already.
I watched them.
you have to look at it through the lens of it's still a base Corvette. So you can't expect it to be the panacea sports car that like it does everything better than everything that costs 5 times as much.
Sure, and we talked about that.
For the money, though, it kills it.
Yeah.
And everything needs to be a little bit better. It needs to sound a little better. It needs a little bit more power. It needs a little bit more brake. It needs to lower a little bit more downforce. But when you add all that together, and that's all very easily solvable on a newer model or the aftermarket, it's a great platform. I mean, that car makes you feel pretty special when you get in it, when you drive it. I drove it back from Michigan. I put 600 miles on it in the first day.
Well, that whole drive across the Northeast in late winter is a good suspension test. That thing rides fucking incredible. The ride is so good. And I did hit
some bumps, so I was like, oh, shit, I bent something. But
Rob's also pro Corvette. He's very pro Corvette.
Well, did you the only thing, because Zach and I drove for Performance Car of the Year last September, one basically that was just like that, but it was pre-production, and so there's just a little couple, like basically what I wanted to see from them in between pre-production and production was like a smoothing out of the gearbox between like 0 and 7 miles an hour.
You know, now you got me thinking. The gearbox shifts real nice. I haven't sort of moved it around the shop enough to know.
Yeah.
The 0 to 7.
I mean, I say 0 to 7, but you know what I mean. It's that real low speed engagement.
I get it, the traffic light.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad enough for me to notice. Let me put it that way.
All right, man. They said that the GM folks said to us that it was an evolving thing and that they were always working on tunes and blah blah blah. And by the time it got to production, it would be amazing. But like, we just haven't driven a production car yet. So
plus, most of GM's ECUs are a little bit self-learning. Also, they make small tweaks and changes as based on the customer's driving habits. So as you drive a little bit more, the car will make small adjustments.
The engine ECU or trans?
Both the engine and trans.
I know trans does.
Yeah, the trans does.
Are they going out, Rob?
This car is the only car that's going out, and it's going out a lot.
Oh, really?
It's gone and sold at least 3 of them in the first like 5 rentals.
Oh, really?
The first guy went out and bought one for 108.
Whoa, Jesus Christ!
And
why don't you just sell him yours and go buy another one?
I'm like, I can't sell it.
Jesus.
What are you getting for that thing for a day?
$500.
Oh, yeah, that's good for now.
So good money.
Yeah, assuming
but it's a good car.
Well, the nice thing about it is you can't go into the dealership and test drive that car. So you have you have whatever you read, opinions of guys like Matt, opinions of guys like you. If you want that car and you want the experience, like your only option really is to rent it for a day. And I tell people to do that a lot, with exotic cars, because you generally can't go into a dealership and say, I want to test drive that 430 before I take it out. Sometimes in a smaller dealership, an older one, they may go with a salesperson, let you take it out, but they're not really going to let you play with it. But in this case, you get to rent that car before you go and buy it, or even if you put your deposit down, and you're waiting on it, you want to know what to expect. You go to somebody like Rob, you can go and rent one of these cars, for a day. You get to live with it and be with it, and so you spend a couple $100 on what is essentially a test drive in your situation. But at the end of the day, think of the money that you're saving, whether you realize you're happy with the car or not.
You save a lot of money if you hate it.
Yeah, you save a lot of money.
If you drive and hate it, you save a lot of money.
That's probably one of the most awkward interactions that you have is having a dealer. When a dealer knows you can walk in and drive whatever you want.
Sure.
And whether you're interested in buying it or not, try this car. They want you to drive it. It just keeps that relationship up. But when a dealership doesn't know you, it's like, I know you should let me drive it, but I understand why you wouldn't let me drive it. And it gets really funky because it like sort of hurts somebody's feelings if they get treated like everybody else. And that's why a lot of people develop relationships with these dealers and buy lots of cars from the same dealer because they get treated well.
Sure.
So that car, the orange car, is a Z51, right?
It is not.
It's not. Oh, you actually got full base cars, huh?
No, it's a 2LT. It was $73,000.
Okay.
Cool.
Is that coming? Is that the Omaze prize car?
This is the Omaze prize car. Yeah.
Nice. We worked this out. So we're going on adventure drives. Rob's event. Plug it, dude. What's it? AD07 about?
We're doing a drive in July from the 18th to the 26th, and we're starting in Seattle, going up through Canada, up through Vancouver, Whistler, across the Trans-Canadian Highway. There you go. Whoever's doing the screen, I love it.
Zach's on it.
Across the Trans-Canadian Highway to Jasper, Banff, Lake Louise, then down to Yellowstone, Glacier National Park, going to the Sun Road and ending in Jackson Hole. So it's going to be like an amazing trip. Omaze has put together a package for people where they're giving them the full boat, and people, Matt obviously is going to be there. I'm going to be there. David Patterson's going to be there. And then they're including the C8 Corvette. And on top of that, they're including a $1,000 gas card, which you'll have money left over because you're not going to burn through $1,000 in gas in 2,000 miles. But it's great that they're making it absolutely turnkey. And it's for a great cause, too. Team Rubicon is out right now helping people all over the country with this disaster. And I mean, a lot of it's panic, but a lot of it is them out there on the front lines helping combat this crisis.
It's pretty exciting. There's the entry. The entries are all up. I'm running like ads and stuff. So what is it? Just at Adventure Drives? What's the best place?
Yeah, you can do Omaze/Adventure Drives.
Okay, cool.
One of the links.
Oh, actually, fucking use my link. It's omaze.com/the-smoking-tire. Is my link.
/TST worked as well.
Yeah, because I think they want to separate the video plugs from the podcast plugs. So one is TST, one is the smoking tire. I think the podcast one is the smoking tire. So omaze.com/smoking-tire. You can enter to win a trip. I hooked a car. It took a little work, Rob, but I hooked I got a Lamborghini Urus.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which I'm actually very excited about because it's not a Huracan. Yeah. But for 2,000 miles, that's a compliment.
It's also it's a comfortable car.
So
and it's
comfortable.
Quick. I mean, you'll have a good time. And obviously, like, you're with me on the trip. So if you want to switch into whatever I'm driving, be it the Ferrari, the NSX, or whatever I have at the time, by all means, we'll switch for the day.
Yeah, but I wanted something that holds our shit, and I wanted something because we're also.
Well, we've got the luggage car.
Well, yeah, I know, but we're actually driving it. We're doing
driving
the
up
full
and
lap. Yeah, so Hannah and I are going to be doing 3,000 miles in the Urus.
Nice.
Which I'm kind of stoked about. We're going to stick around Jackson Hole a little bit once it's done.
Yeah, Jackson Hole is awesome.
But what was the one road that you sent me the crazy shots from where it was just the most beautiful highway ever?
Oh, Icefields Parkway up in between Banff and Jasper was awesome.
Yeah.
But there's so many amazing roads up there. I mean, this is like we're through the mountains the entire time, roughly. We're going up and down the entire Rockies. We're going the Canadian Rockies, the U.S. Rockies. I mean, going to the Sun Road is one of my favorite roads in the country, in the U.S. And we're going to be driving that again.
I know in Canada the enforcement is a bit aggressive. How does that? Is that
maybe I didn't experience anything like that, but everywhere we go, we've been in Switzerland, we've been in Austria. So
yes, I've gotten massive tickets in both of those countries.
I do recall Matt Farah and myself doing the first time I was in Switzerland. We had the Ferrari and the BMW. Allegedly. It could have been
Allegedly,
Austria,
of course.
One of those countries that was really bad with speeding. And we were doing like 180 miles an hour door-to-door racing these two cars to see which was faster. And in between poles, we slowed down and we drove right past a speed camera as we were in between poles.
Sheer luck.
And then JF was like, you guys would be in jail forever. It was pretty wild.
That car I later got, it was that vehicle. I later got a ticket for 16 kilometers over in a speed camera ticket. It was €1,000.
That was worth it. Like,
yeah.
Given what you could have gotten, that was totally worth it.
Oh, no, this was different. I was driving Sarah to the airport. This wasn't even on the same day.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but as it turns out, that 2014 BMW M6 was the same speed as a 458 Spider above 100, we learned.
Yeah, they pulled real nice.
Those fucking cars go, man. Those twin turbo M cars from 5-6 years ago, they went like a motherfucker. What else is what do you got in the fleet right now, Rob? What's fucking back there?
If I have it, most of them are here. I've got the G63 for the rental company. I've got the G63. I've got the Range Rover, the S560, the Huracan Spider, the 488 Spider, the Bentley GTC, the Z06 convertible, the C8 Corvette, the AMG GT.
That's a good fleet.
One more. Yeah, it's a solid fleet. Now is when I'm usually buying cars, but
No.
not until I see what goes down here. This is a pretty big kick in the nuts right now. I'm not used to having a warehouse full of cars.
I know.
When it's sort of nice weather outside. I
know. We're very lucky that a couple of the press fleet companies are still operating. A couple of them are not. I had 4 loans and 4 launches canceled, which is not good. But Porsche stepped up and has filled in some gaps. So I'm getting the new Macan Turbo in Miami Blue next week, which I'm very excited about.
Good car.
And then
you'll notice that.
Yeah. Wait, Rob, I wanted to ask you about the status of the personal Ferretti 360 fleet. Are there any?
Okay.
How many are there right now?
So I'll give you there's only one right now.
Okay.
So I had a red coupe.
Uh-huh.
And then I got a blue Spider. So I had the red coupe and the blue Spider at once.
Can we have a moment of silence for the red coupe?
Yeah, so I was giving you the update on all of them. I decided I liked them both, so I got rid of them both and got a red Spider.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Nothing will top.
The red coupe has since gone through several owners and another like 20,000 miles, and then it was totaled. And it was totaled allegedly hit by somebody.
I'm talking about
out like a bandit. He got like $75,000 for the car that he paid $45,000 for or something.
No, I was talking about your old red coupe that caught in flames.
Oh no, that coupe is like
with the odometer issue.
That coupe's long been dead.
360s,
yeah.
Not old rentals.
That we had so much fun in that car though.
I mean, yeah, for like a month I did, and then it burned to the fucking ground.
The blue Spider I sold to a close friend. And he's had it for like 2 years, and then he started getting an engine noise, and then $20,000 later, they completely pulled it apart, put it back together. He went a little ham with it when he was doing the service, but it was, I think, like a collapsed lifter or something like that. Something that's completely, it's not unheard of, but fairly rare. But he got that probably 10,000 miles in, and now the whole car went apart, went back together, and he had a little leaking from the cam seals, so it's back at the shop now getting that done. But he's really enjoying the crap out of that car. And then this car that I have here, I just had a guy come in. I'm like afraid to drive it now because a guy just did like a 3-day detail. Like,
that happens.
Ceramic coating and everything.
That happens. Larry worked on my Lambo, and he was like, "All right, now we're gonna film it." I was like, "But you just detailed it."
Yeah, I'm afraid to drive it.
He's like, "Don't worry, I'll fix it. I'll fix it afterwards."
Yeah, that's one of those things that when you do that, and like it's sort of too nice to me. I'm like, this is why I don't wash my cars, because I can actually drive it and enjoy it.
The red one is the one I think you and Kimmy drove to the wedding. I've seen it. It's got like a bunch of miles on it, but it's nice, right?
Which one?
The red one, the red Spider.
No, that one I bought with 12. It's at like 17 now. I think my building's about to blow up.
Oh, what the fuck is going on back there?
I'm just kidding. I closed the door.
Oh,
I feel bad. Whoever's got to edit this audio, and I realized this now, or like 10 minutes ago, I realized it. But I'm recording this to try to keep the best quality product for the Smoking Tire podcast that we can possibly deliver. So I've got a microphone on here, but then I realize it's probably running a chance of picking up your audio on top of my audio. So hopefully
it might be, it might not. And also,
we'll see.
Also this show's free.
Yeah. And as long as it's better than the microphone speakers through Zoom.
It's fine.
Think of Zoom now. It's all the rage.
Zach and I were talking that we wish we bought stock.
Yep.
A month ago.
Apparently the security of it is not quite there yet, and there's some open loops in it. But beside that, it seems like it's like fine. I have no allegiance. It's not like the Valentine one, where it's like I've been using Skype for years. No,
I've used it 3
Valentine
times.
One, you even gave that. Like they didn't keep reinventing the product to the point where everyone just gave up on them when they lost their arrows. The amount of money that those arrows made that guy is ridiculous.
We were before while you were in line at the grocery store, and I have it here in the studio, and we've been using it for the last week. The Valentine 1 Gen 2, aka Valentine 2, and it's nice. You'll really like it.
Do they call it the Valentine 2?
No, they fucking should. It's called the Valentine 1 Gen 2.
Because No, if they called it the Valentine 2, that completely it makes it seem like a new product now. Everyone's like, I need to get that.
Yeah. So it's nice. We were talking about it before you got on, but how did we end up there, Zach? When I just totally brain farted how we ended up in about radar detectors.
Zoom Valentine 2?
I fucking forget.
I don't know.
I forget.
Well, I mean, as far as radar detectors, I haven't used it, but the Passport Max 360 is the go-to, isn't it?
I think a lot of people have that one and like it right now. I found my Valentine 1 to still be relevant, and we've got this new Valentine 2, and it works great. So we're happy with it.
Yeah, I think I did reviews once, and I think the unit I think it was the R3, was good for long range. So if you live in like Nebraska, and you have nothing but clear highway ahead of you. But the Passport Max 360 was the best short range radar detector for like everyday use.
Hey, what's the regulation? What's the regulation on Canada
for radars?
It's fine, right?
I mean, and this is where we went off on the tangent before. Like, we've driven in all these countries that have like super strict speed limits, and we without the stickers on the car, we're pretty clear.
No, I know that, but and having a driving event without stickers is like the most important thing to me now. Now that we've done it, you can never go back to fucking bullshit stickers. Fuck that. But I just don't know. Are radar detectors legal in Canada?
Who's working the switchboard?
I don't know. Zach's going to work on that in the background while we do that. But the 360. So in general, buy, drive, put miles on with confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Buy, drive, put miles on, sell. This one, since I bought it, it's an 04 with 12,000 miles on it. I bought it, and I'm just going to keep it. When the clutch eventually goes, and I don't know when that's going to happen, I'll swap it to a manual, and that's just my car till my kids auction it off after I'm dead.
How long are the clutches lasting on those, if you know how to drive them right?
Both of my 360 coupe, my coupe and my first convertible, I got at a good deal because they needed clutches. So the dealer takes the car and he's like, look, we got this car, it needs a clutch. The guy doesn't want to spend 10 grand. You want to buy it? And I'm like, yeah. So I think I paid like 50 grand for my 360 coupe, sold it for 55 after I put 15,000 miles on it. And then I paid, I don't remember. I think I paid like 65 and sold my blue Spider for 65, but put 5,000 or 6,000 miles on it, and I put a clutch in when I bought it. But like, I'm happy. The car I have now has unknown clutch life. It's never been replaced, but it's at least 17 or 18,000 miles now on it. So as a rental car, it would probably need a clutch pretty soon, or would have needed a clutch already. With somebody who knows how to drive it, it's lasting a long time.
Yeah. I think if you know how to care for that thing, you could probably make it last quite a while.
That should be your thing, to see how long you can go on the stock clutch.
What's the record? I mean, there's got to be some guy out there with a 50 or 60,000 mile car on the original clutch.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about like clutches, and that's, to be fair, it's not the best engaging clutch on the planet.
Yeah. It's a little soft.
But if you think about all those cars that you bought that you're like, oh, I bought this car, I'm going to learn how to drive stick. And like, you know what, if the clutch burns out in 30,000 miles, then so be it. 300,000 miles later, it's on the original clutch.
Yeah, I know. Clutch material is such a weird thing because it's not like linear. Like, you can like kind of fuck the clutch up like minimally a whole bunch of times, or you can fuck it up real bad once and it's just dead.
It's done.
Yeah, it's like you can really play within that. It's like the laws of thermodynamics, right? If you have a gauge and it like fucking completely fails here, you can get it here a million times and nothing will happen. It'll be perfect, but you get it to there and it just goes boom.
Well, it glazes, right? And then it just slips constantly.
Well, the Ford GT had the problem where the clutch will bird's nest. It will literally just shred itself to pieces.
The old ones, the manual ones did?
The manual ones, yeah.
Did they really? I don't remember that.
We had a customer who did that. He took the car, he tried to do a burnout in third gear. Clutch just lit up like a bird's nest. Car was stuck in place. And at least he was honest about it. He's like, I was trying to do a burnout and I was in the wrong gear, and the thing just because that thing would rip a burnout no problem.
Yeah, of course.
And then I smoked a clutch on a Murcielago on the LP640 Roadster, trying to load it onto the top deck of a trailer where we had like half an inch on each side.
Yeah, I could really see that happening.
Arena swapped the clutch, and then it had to go on directly on a truck to Florida. The car had 8 miles on it.
Oh, it's a new clutch. Oh God.
that was a big $8,000 oops.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I don't allow flatbed drivers to load my Lambo onto trucks. I load it myself because I
don't blame you,
because they would easily smoke the clutch in that thing.
Yeah, that's
well, you do the elevator door. Like certain cars need an elevator door. You can't load it on a regular car transport.
Yeah, no,
an incline.
It's got the low boy.
Yeah.
So it just drives straight on, then they lift it up and go straight.
No, you can drive it on a bit of an angle. It's actually got some clearance, so I can I take a little bit of a run up at it actually, and then just kind of coast up it. It's fine as long as you don't slowly ride the clutch.
Yeah, once
up.
It's engaged, you're okay to ride up there. But
like a lot of the times I put like anything that I have that's finicky, I'll put on a truck that has just a elevator door in the back, so you're literally like pulling into a parking spot, and it doesn't damage the clutch or anything like that, and because regardless of whether you load it or not, they could take the thing off 4 or 5 times on the way to the destination that you have no idea. So
well, you're talking about long distance shipping. I was referring to more as allegedly. I've got Haggerty Plus, which is unlimited basically tows a year for me, basically unlimited. And so if I need to get the car to like service, I'll be like, it's overheating. I'll just send a flatbed to my house.
Something doesn't sound right.
Take it to service.
Yeah, something doesn't sound right.
They don't ask too many questions once they show up.
No, it's funny. I always use AAA. I have Haggerty as well, so I'll probably use.
If you've got Haggerty, their tow plan is longer distance and more tows per year. Like AAA Gold or whatever it was is like 99 miles or something.
Yeah. 160. It's if you're like Premier.
200 mile tow for the whatever AAA I pay for.
Whatever Haggerty was, it was 50 miles further than AAA offered.
That's a lot.
Okay, so
it was significant. It was enough. It was enough that it would get me home from Button Willow. It was far. Like that's really
that's good,
far.
Though. Imagine going to the racetrack and then not having to worry about trailering the car. If it breaks, you get it home for free. And
100%.
You just have to deal with the drive back with the driver.
You're 100% right. Oh, bro, that's an adventure.
It is. Man, I've had some interesting chats with those guys. Some really nice, really nice.
Yeah, and really funny stuff happens when you're in the cab of one of those trucks and there's a Countach on the back. They really look at you funny.
The guy that picked up my the reliable driver that picked up my motorcycle last week, he had one of those Tremontes. Was that
Fisker Tremonto?
No. The Spanish open wheel.
Oh, the Caparo T1?
No. It's a
Tramontana?
Tramontana. On there.
Those exist?
Yeah. He had it on his truck.
I've never even.
And he was taking it to
Let's see
Phoenix.
what that looks like.
A Tramontana. Yeah, it's that thing.
But
it's like this open wheel thing.
Yeah, the reason it was completely insane. But the reason I bring it up is like
cool.
talking to the guy about it, and he just slips in the fact that he only has like half a foot.
Who, the driver?
The driver.
Oh,
like just casually in conversation, like to Zach's point, like they're always interesting people.
Look at that fucking thing.
That was sitting on
that looks very cool. I give big props.
That's a little busy for me.
If somebody actually owns and drives that, good points.
F1
stuff. Yeah, but how much is that car?
It's got to be like $1 million at least.
Yeah.
What we're looking at is basically a single seat car. It actually looks kind of like that Draken thing I drove.
Like
the blue one. I thought that was gorgeous though. That was much more like smooth and svelte. This is a little busy, but you can put a plate on it.
I'm trying to do a Formula 1 thing.
I like the look of.
Oh, that thing
is Caparo is cool.
That's a fighter
plane thing. And then you have the
thing.
BAC Mono, which I drove over in the UK.
I love that car too.
That car was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They just updated the BAC Mono. It's got more power now.
Have you ever driven one?
No, I haven't. I'd like to, but
I'm gonna reach out to them when we do our Scotland trip. Maybe I'll see if they can bring it up to like the Glen Eagles and we could do test drives.
That would be the shit. Look at that. That's a Caparo T1.
I was actually very excited to drive that car. It was a lot of fun. The fact that I flew to London just to drive across to Manchester to drive the car, just to drive back to London to go to where I was actually going. It was sort of a stopover just because it was such a cool experience.
Was it worth the time?
It was. I don't regret it. It was I really like the car. It's as you must expect. It is still. I mean, it's not a Mercedes. Like it's got but it's fun as hell.
They have two different chassis. There's like the thin person one and the fat person one. And the press car that first came to America was the thin person one, and they came out with the fat guy one later. So nice. I gotta wait for the Gen 2. I think. I've got a Morgan Plus 4 coming in a couple weeks. That loan was not canceled. You can actually buy that in America right now. The Morgan Plus 4. It's like the old school looking Morgan.
We went to the Morgan shop down here, and there was like one person in the building, so I think you can keep the social distancing rules.
That's the guy. He just puts it outside, and I just walk out.
Yeah, I mean, those single seat cars are the ultimate social distancing tools.
I know. Did you see the single seat 911 that's on Bring a Trailer right now for like pennies?
I wouldn't go near that, but yes, I've seen it.
It's like it was like, I don't know, was it like 20 grand when I saw it? It was a 997.
It was in the 60s, I think, when I saw it.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, it'll go.
Somebody could look it up now. I don't see the value in that. I feel like you chopped up a car for novelty purposes, but it's like a YouTuber's car. You don't want to buy that.
It is like a YouTuber's car.
Like, it's cool. People are aware of it, but it's not something you want to put.
That car's been all over the show circuit.
Just look at Zach. It's a white 997 with like a wing. There it is, right there. Single seat.
Oh, it's a center seat car.
Yeah.
So it's like a
they actually
like a busy style.
They did sort of a decent job.
Scroll down to the interior.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it looked all right, but it just like, why would you do that? You ruin the car.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, if you could actually fit passengers on either side, that might be kind of fun.
The dash is not.
It's not.
Looks
They didn't
pretty
do a
good.
terrible
No,
job.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They did a decent job of putting it back to. So, but I mean, that's a lot of money for like.
What's the bid at?
14 inches.
They answered a question that nobody asked.
Well, someone said, "Hey, I like the seating of a McLaren F1, but I only have 30 grand." And the guy was like, "All right, I got a cutting wheel."
Oh, it cost him more than 30 grand to build that car.
Yeah, but he's not selling it right now. It's
What
at
is the bid
33.
up to?
It says
on that?
bid to 30. Bid to what?
Oh, okay.
30.
So, yeah,
Bid to
so I was wrong.
33.
I thought it was higher.
Yeah.
But look, you got your two seats sort of behind the center. I mean, I don't know how you drove that busy moto car with the center seat. And,
I
like,
did
it was
drive
a good
center
time.
seat Boxster. Yeah, it was really fun. I having this. So there were actually some downsides though to sitting in the middle. An obvious ones. The obvious one is getting in and out, which this Porsche has a slider. So the downsides of this one are the seat has a normal front rear slider. And it's got a left-right slider, so you can slide the chair towards the door.
Has that been crash tested? Like that's
sketchy.
Ooh.
And then the problem with Busy's car was to make the steering wheel work in the middle. They had to add another joint in the steering shaft, which reduced the steering feel of a Boxster, which is about as perfect as steering feel gets.
Right.
So it's not that it didn't work. It did work, but there was a noticeable reduction in steering feel. And I suspect that man up here.
The placement of the mirror. I mean, your rear view mirror is where now?
He did. And well, so in the one that I drove with Busy's, it was a race car. So it had, my seat was like on the floor basically, and it had one of those deals where the mirror, the race mirror that goes all the way across the top of the windshield. It had one of those deals.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like a vanity mirror. If you're sitting there just looking at yourself being like, I am so damn good looking right now.
Pretty much. It was fucking kind of cool. I mean, I didn't want one for myself, but I thought it was kind of neat.
What about the side mirrors, Matt? How when you're sitting in the middle, the Porsches don't have a lot of play to those mirrors.
I got to tell you, I only drove the thing on the track, dude. So other than that,
what is behind you is of no concern.
Well, and I had the big mirror across the top middle, which did allow me to see, either side. It wasn't terrible, but look, so this here's the picture, Zach, of what I guess used to be a mirror, but there's still a sensor that just comes down.
Yeah, they just got rid of the center mirror.
Middle of the windshield there.
Yeah, but now isn't that right in your field of vision?
Yes, definitely.
Depending on how tall you are, yeah.
Yeah, and also that seat back is awful close to the ceiling in that picture.
Well, the seat's probably mounted higher now because it has two sliders, so that's
I don't know. I applaud somebody for doing that, but hopefully it was a salvage car to begin with. Otherwise, it's a pretty awful use of money.
I don't think it was. I think it's a clean car.
They took a nice car and killed it.
Speaking of killing things, have you had any shitbox fun recently?
I've got a donk that I have.
See, that's a whole
Vinny
story.
helped me with that.
Have you driven it?
But
that
ended up being, and Vinny can actually give you the story as to what the guy represented with the car, that he just parked it. But it actually, he parked it because it had a blown motor. And that would have been nice to know, because I spent $1,000 having a shop get the blown motor to run.
Oh,
It was a
no.
Grand,
I
it
got
was a
it up
Grand
here, I
Marquis.
found out there was holes and pistons.
Yeah,
and
it was
everything like
a
that,
Grand
so it was
Marquis, and it was like it had like 80,000 miles on it, or even less. It was something ridiculous. The interior was completely perfect, and it was in really, really, overall good. There it is, right there.
Oh, there it is.
Wow. No way.
What size are the wheels?
24s.
Yeah.
Nice. That's fucking.
I just want to go out to dinner in the thing. But
Yeah.
the problem is now I put another motor in it, but now the trans went.
Oh no.
And the
drivetrain
trans went in the first 15 miles. So a guy legitimately sold me a car with a bad engine and trans. Now, the good thing is it's a Crown Vic.
Yeah.
So I can just go, I've got the guy that does the film cars. He's got one that they rolled over. So I'm just going to take the engine and trans and drop it right into this.
Nice.
Dude, this is awesome.
I can't believe that you bought a donk though, but you now have to replace the engine and trans.
I know. Well, the reason I bought it was because I wanted to drive it just to see how stupid it is, because it's stupid.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to ever let you review their donk because they know it's stupid. But they don't want anyone else. They want everyone else to think it's cool. So I had to legitimately buy one to then prove it's stupid.
I did get to review a donk once, and it wasn't just a donk. It was a donk limo. It was
Nice, I
a
saw that in
Cadillac
Florida.
Fleetwood donk limo on 30s.
Nice.
And it was long as hell, and it was really hard to drive.
Yeah, it's not fun to drive those.
No, it was terrible. But it fucking made me laugh. Oh, there it is. Look at that thing. It made me laugh so much.
You had such a good time. You really did.
It was so terrible and amazing, and
It's bad at everything. You've taken a car
Yeah.
that was good at least something and made it bad at everything.
no, but the guy who brought it did have a really good sense of humor about it. He knew I was making fun of it, and he didn't care. I don't know, Zach. Did we pay him? Is that why he didn't care? I don't know.
Maybe a little bit, but not.
But he liked it.
He was just a good dude.
He was fucking chill. I can see why you bought it. I was laughing my balls off every second I was in it.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
the funniest,
That's
most
the
fun at
looks
4 miles an
people
hour.
give you.
But is it ironic though that you bought this thing thinking it would be fun for a laugh when it actually might have been cheaper to just buy a Crown Vic and build your own fucking dog?
No, somebody put a lot of money into that thing, and Vinny can attest to the modification.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm like $8 or $9 grand into it now too, so that sucks.
Oh my god! What do you
Yeah,
think?
I know.
What do you think it would have cost to build the donk if you had a functional Crown Vic?
I mean, the suspension that they put on this, it's gonna. You got to figure, if you spend the money on a lifted truck, it's going to cost you a couple of $1,000s for a decent lifted truck.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the same thing. I mean, not including the cost of the wheels, which could easily on a 24s, you could easily spend $5,000-$6,000 on a set of wheels for that alone. But the lift is going to cost you $3,000 or $4,000 on to do halfway decent.
What about to do not
about
decent?
to do it not decent?
What about to do shitty?
Oh, I mean, you could do 2x4s and welding
And
and stuff like that.
I just got some U-bolts, man.
But it's no different than low. You can lower a car by cutting springs, or you can do it the right way. And it's
Right.
Just, any mods like that are going to be whatever. But yeah, it was an adventure going to pick this thing up and then having to tow it. And I felt bad once we got it to Rob. I was all excited that he's going to drive it, and then he calls me. He's like, "Yeah, the motor's blowing." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "That's insane."
Ugh. Well, hopefully you get it worked out.
But I'll tell you what, I got some looks because I had my Cayenne at the time, and I was towing it around Tampa in the Cayenne.
You towed that with the Cayenne? That's really funny. Oh, that's great. So where is that thing sitting right now, Rob? Out back
Right
behind your
outside,
shop?
leaking next to the dumpsters.
Oh,
Hopefully they
boy.
don't mistake it for a scrap car and tow it away. But
A la Volvo.
Dirty Mike and the boys gonna have a little sex party in there.
yeah, but you know what? Just the thought of going to these Ferrari North Americas right up the hill, pulling up to Grissini, which is an Italian restaurant, and valeting that stupid thing. They got to leave it out front. You can't even. Nobody wants to park that thing in the back.
I really want you to get it working just so I can just do that.
Yeah, come to dinner with me.
You had to go totally straight faced, dressed.
Oh, absolutely.
Dressed.
I can stone face anything.
But if you can, but we really need Kimmy to stone face it because
Yeah, get my wife to come do it.
If she does it, then you really
She
sold
would
it.
think that the car would kill us, so she probably wouldn't even get into it.
I want to go to. We got a lot of questions from people, so I want to go to those. But where can people sign up for adventure drives if they want to sign up to just do it?
To just do adventure drives, you go to adventuredrives.com, and obviously that'll guide you through everything. If you want more information than what's on the website, shoot me an email, rob@adventuredrives.com or info@adventuredrives.com. We'll send you over the deck for either the July trip or the Scotland trip in the end of the year.
Nice. I will be going with my wife in a Lamborghini, and if you don't happen to have the cash, because it's not exactly cheap, it's worth it, but not cheap, then you can go to omaze.com/thesmokingtire and enter to win an all expenses paid trip in a C8 Corvette with a $1,000 gas card. And Rob, are they buying flights and shit too? They are, right?
Yeah, flights and everything. It is
turnkey trip.
The only thing I don't know if they're doing is picking you up at your house in an Uber. Other than that, I think everything else.
Get yourself to your local airport. All right.
Yeah. I'm out. Forget it.
Is there, Rob? I mean, I don't want to, knock wood. July's a long way away, but are we worried?
No, I mean, I think we're pretty good, pretty confident, and especially that if this sort of wraps up come June, that everybody will be itching to go somewhere and do something. So I'm excited. Right now, everything is still a go.
Sweet.
Some people responded, and I looked up the laws of Canada. The western provinces, radar detectors are allowed.
Okay.
BC and Alberta. But in the eastern provinces, they are, quote, super illegal.
Yeah, I had a recollection of going on a Toronto film trip once for something, and it being a big no-no in Toronto area, but I guess
I think West Canada is much more badass than Eastern Canada.
Yeah, in Ontario, if you cross in Ontario, they are illegal there as well. And some areas said if you are caught doing 30 over, they just take your car.
Huh.
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, we'll see.
Depending on how good a talker you are.
Yeah.
No, I mean that just gives me the benchmark of when I'm going to run away.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I got to take your car, eh?
Oh, sorry there, eh? Didn't see you there.
What, Rob? What car are you shipping? One of your cars over there?
Yeah, I'll probably ship one of my cars. Although there's a really cheap rental car company up in Seattle with unlimited miles.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
All right, off camera, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
in case my Urus falls through.
In case the thing falls through, you can get an Aventador for $6,000 for the week.
Oh, geez, is it really $6,000 for the week for an Aventador?
Like
Unlimited miles? We could really abuse that.
We're going to take the whole fleet, I'm sure.
I know, right? We're just going to wipe that place out. We fucking wiped out Sixt in Munich, didn't we?
Yeah, and when we go to Scotland, we've got some place from the UK bringing up all the cars. We're limited in Scotland to only 18 rooms because we're renting an entire hotel in Speyside, which is one of the big Scotch areas. So the hotel that we're renting only has 18 rooms, so that means the hard limit for the trip is going to be 18 couples.
That's Zach and I are doing the Safari Southwest thing, which is limited by the size of the hotels. It's 12 cars only.
Yeah.
JP who lives up in Vancouver just texted me and said, "Tell Rob it's no joke about the speed limits up in British Columbia."
All right. Well,
so you got to take it easy.
All right.
In Vancouver.
So we got somebody to call to bail us out.
Yep. JP's there. He's got Vancouver wired in. So shout out to him up there.
All right. Where were we, Zach?
Questions?
Yeah.
All right. How long would you two suggest waiting before buying a used exotic car? I'm getting dealers calling me back after refusing offers initially in March, but let's just say a general rule of thumb.
I think his question, the translation is, when is the bottom of the market going to happen?
When they show up at your house with flowers?
Same thing with the stock market. You don't know.
I don't know. What about
the money you'll save on an exotic car right now, you'll make 5 times over by putting it in the stock market near bottom.
Yeah.
So that's the smarter play. But if you have money and you just want to get a good deal on something, it's a buyer's market right now.
What about mileage? Let's adjust the question a little bit. Is there a mileage limit, Rob, where you don't buy cars or where you start looking at them, or is it more about how they were cared for?
It depends on the car. It's more so the condition because, and it's like the dirty secret of the industry. A lot of people roll back their cars, disconnect their odometers. Like Matt's Countach could have been disconnected for 15 years. It's like much easier to roll back those other cars. I've driven Diablos from people. Hey, I drive my car. I drive it, and then people in the video are like, "Oh, the odometer's not moving." I'm like, oh, no kidding. I wouldn't have thought that guy would have done that. But it's much more common practice than you think, and it's probably like 50 or 60% of cars, just say 2015 or older, are rollbacks in the exotic world because there's so much money at play.
Well,
wow.
In a Diablo, it's 50-50 if the speedometer cable's broken.
There's no way this car's got 6,000 miles on it. You're probably right.
Huh.
You can even, I mean, there's very 7-figure cars that have been rolled back several times and they float around. And
but the new owner doesn't care as long as there's no proof.
Yeah.
Because you're buying in at a certain point and the car is always worth what it's worth because of the condition, the mileage, and the year. So, like, whether it was rolled back to 2000 or it has 2000, the owner doesn't really care.
Yeah.
All right. What is a standout ticket that you guys got that was complete bullshit? Speeding ticket, any kind of ticket.
One that comes to my mind was the 100. Matt and I got pulled over. We didn't get a ticket, but I'll use this story because we were both in the car together. In the Cobra R in Texas.
Oh, yeah, I know where you're going with this, yeah.
Yeah, and we came over this bridge, and the guy pulled us over and we had the radar detector and everything, pulled us over for doing 41 and a 40, or 46 and a 45, but he claims it just turned to a 40 as it came over the bridge. And we're like, yeah, but 46 and a 40, 45, 46 and a 45, it's all ridiculous. I think because Matt had the camera in his face, we just didn't care that week, so we're recording everything. I think that's what got us off of that ticket because I think the guys that were with us got arrested. Jesus.
Yeah, I got a different. That one was mostly bullshit, and then I got the even more bullshit was the year before that on Bull Run, and I got the 1 over in Boulder City, Nevada.
I remember that just outside of Vegas. We were raging though.
Yeah,
like we were that from like Lake Havasu to Vegas or whatever we were doing. That was full blown flat out.
Yeah, but nowhere near that guy. Nowhere near that cop.
Near that guy.
That
Correct.
cop. My V1 was going for fucking 20 miles, dude. And I had this. I had the cruise on 66 and a 65, and he wrote me for 66 and a 65.
Jesus,
got
it
you
was
good.
A stick, I admit.
Yeah, that was bullshit. And I went back to court and fought it and fucking won. So fuck that guy.
Nice.
Good.
I mean, nice. Yeah, I wasted all time.
It's the principle at that point.
Yes.
Ming Zhao Chen says he loved our Levante review. He's in the market for a new daily. He found a 2014 Quattroporte GTS with 25,000 miles on it for $30,000, one owner. Good history. What do we think?
Rob, what do you think about that?
Run.
Rob says run.
Quattroporte is just not the car to ever buy. The answer is never the answer is never the Quattroporte.
There you go. Rob, I had a couple weeks ago, I had the Levante Trofeo, the SUV with the big motor. Sure. And Zach and I beat the shit out of it. And it was, it was not a Maserati in some of those ways, but it was fucking quick and it was fun. We had a good time.
I feel like those are going to be oh wow, you could buy a Quattroporte for $6,000. I think that's going to come much quicker than most people think.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. What else you got, Zach?
Chris Mathis has a 09 GT500 with full suspension mods, stock engine, mostly street use, occasional track use. Should he upgrade the brakes or add power next? Oh my God.
If you have an 09 GT500 and you don't have upgraded brakes, that needs to be the very first thing on your list.
And you said track use.
Yeah.
Like the track use brakes is probably the first thing I would do. Brakes and suspension.
Did he say suspension? Is that on that list?
He says he has full suspension.
I would hope so.
But
those are not good either.
Yeah, man. If you're going to the track, your next mod shouldn't be adding more power in that car if you don't have brakes.
If you don't realize you need new brakes, then you're probably not driving hard enough, and you should probably spend money on driving lessons.
Also, great point.
I gotta say though, you do not see a lot of GT500s at the racetrack, and so it is points to the owner for taking his GT500 to the racetrack because GT500s, you see them in showrooms, and then they go into private collections. You never see them again. Car shows occasionally, but you just don't see them. People just buy them and stick them away, and they don't use them.
Yeah.
Which the 2011. That's the fucking real sweet spot. Yeah. Because you get the shorter gearing, like the 09 and 010, but you have the aluminum engine, like from the Ford GT.
That would be helpful.
But they didn't go too far and fucking ruin it like the 12 to 14 one with the stupid gearing, because Carroll Shelby had to see 0-60 in first fucking gear.
Yeah.
Because my 7th wife needs to suck this dick. Yeah. Anyway. What do you got?
Let's see. Do press car contacts ever get mad about our spirited driving on public roads?
No.
Because we're going the speed limit.
Well, the trick to press cars, and not just about speeding, but the thing that you have to respect, and if you want, and Matt's got a really good relationship with all the press car fleet people, both from the OEMs and the secondary companies that manage them, and I did as well. But the thing you have to do with the press car companies is remember that there's another journalist getting that car right after you. So if something happens and you're out in a parking lot and somebody breaks a taillight on you, or you happen to go through tires, or something mechanically goes wrong with the car, as long as you let the press car fleet company know that there's something wrong or something happened, so they can make the adjustments to the next journalist, because you've got another journalist that may be, writing an article and he's expecting that car to be in good condition. So shit happens and they're going to understand, but you have to be able to tell them and give them enough time to make the adjustments. And as long as you do that, they generally don't give a fuck what you do with the cars.
No, and also if the question is about speed, if you get a ticket, that has nothing to do with the car.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, if you get the car impounded, they may now have something to talk about. But if the shiny side is up when you brought it back,
maybe you can wash it off.
Yeah, and even if you break it mildly, if you let them know, so that it doesn't fuck their schedule up later. It's
all
usually
they care about.
It's an awkward phone call, but generally no. And also, even if you criticize the cars, the people who put you in the car are not the people who designed the car.
No.
So if you have a fair criticism of the car that they may not even agree with, but that is defensible, that's not going to prevent you from getting in the next car.
No, not at all.
What do we think of car sharing? This person works at Volvo, and Lincoln Company is currently developing a system like the Bird scooter rental, but for cars. What do we think?
Rob, since you deal with shared cars often, why don't you chime in?
I mean, I don't deal with shared cars. I rent cars. Very different. So there's a couple of different approaches. There's the I forget that. What's the Go car? What do you call it?
Oh, the zip cars. The zip cars.
Zip car.
Zip car. Yeah. So there's that model, and then there's what I think Lincoln and Cadillac are doing is that you pay them like $1,800 a month, and you can get a different car every month, or you can switch out to another model whenever you want.
Porsche does it as well. Yeah, it's a subscription service.
That's not like you're spending $2,000 a month. You're spending $25,000 a year for that.
Those subscription services will include all of the maintenance, all of the insurance, all of the registration, all of everything. You're basically renting whatever car in their fleet that they want. So if you
it's essentially you're renting primary cars.
Yeah,
and
so
Volvo,
Porsche, Lincoln, all of those, like, I need a Navigator this weekend because I got family coming in town, and then the next day, I need just a regular car, and you can swap them out like that. So
can you swap them each day? I thought Cadillac when they did it was like once a month.
I think you're limited to the number of swaps.
Depending on the thing. I know with Porsche, I don't think there was a limitation from what I remember, but I mean,
I also think at least one of those companies killed their program. I forget which one it was. Maybe Lincoln, maybe Volvo.
Yeah.
I see it from a sales standpoint to get cars out there and to get people buying new cars, but that's something that doesn't work unless you have a lot of people involved in the program. It doesn't work with one guy doing it and one guy getting 20 different cars.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to bring new people into that manufacturer and go, hey,
if people are investing in that, they're probably already loyal to the brand anyway. If you're going to go to Lexus and sign up for $1,000 a month.
But was the question more about the car to go and zip car kind of services, or was it more about the?
Yeah, I think they were just like, what would you think of a shared car idea?
I think Americans don't like sharing their personal shit, and they're not good at it. Like, Americans can't take care of anything in the public space unless there's something physically preventing them from breaking it. You know what I mean? Or unless they personally own it.
If you live in a city with. Do you guys have those electric?
Into an Uber before? I mean, they look at you dirty, like you should have placed it on the seat instead. Like it does get a little weird because it is their personal car.
Right. So I think the shared cars thing, like, okay, if you are talking about a very dense urban area where not many people have cars, and you've got 5 cars for this apartment complex and people can use them as needed, like, all right, I kind of get that. But, like, I don't think Americans anytime soon are going to give up their personal cars and just go with a shared car. I was going to say, if
anybody lives in a city with the electric bird scooters and the jump scooters, like, you can tell exactly how well people take care of shared shit.
Yeah. People will rent them and beat the fuck out of them in terrible ways that you couldn't even imagine.
Finding trees and fucking wherever else.
When people started throwing bird scooters in the canals, it was like, oh, that's what 14-year-olds do when they have a cell phone. Like, they're just terrible. Or just garbage humans in general. Yeah. Sean Smith says he is looking for a 2+2 sports car for a summer daily driver and taking a daughter to car shows. Budget's $55,000. It's looking at 2018 TTRS, GT350, M2 Comp, 9911. What do you guys think?
Those are all my quick go-tos.
Saying the TTRS is a 2+2 is kind of a stretch.
You're not, 2+2 is a stretch for TTRS, but it's also kind of a stretch for a 911.
55 grand. You got what else is out there?
A 997 is right there.
Yeah.
Again, barely a 2+2.
Yeah. It depends how much you need the back seat.
Yeah. How much of the +2 do you really need?
Yeah.
How practical are you trying to be with it? If you're going to car shows and stuff and not grocery shopping and daily driving it, you have more latitude. But if it's your only car, it may change your opinion as to which direction you go.
Yeah. M2 and M3 have pretty usable back seats, as does GT350.
Yeah.
Well,
the Cadillac
as
coupe.
does Hellcats. I can't imagine they're flying off the shelves right now.
The Cadillac V coupes.
Oh, you want a cheap car? Get an ATS-V. Yeah. You want to fucking pay 6 pennies for a Cadillac? There you go.
Yeah.
Or you want a good cheap car? What's that? The Kia version of the S-Class.
Oh, the 90.
The
right?
K900.
That thing was.
No. Was it the Kia? Who makes the
Genesis?
Oh, the Equus, the Hyundai Equus.
The Equus,
Hyundai Equus.
The Equus was much better than the K900.
Yeah, the Equus is like $6,000.
But LeBron,
$15,000 car.
LeBron drives a K900. What are you talking about?
He drives it to the bank, and then he drives it to his Mercedes, and then he gets in his Mercedes.
What else you got?
So you guys have both owned a lot of cars and driven a lot of cars. Jansen Murray says, what is an attainable dream car? And then do you have a hit the lotto dream car?
Rob?
Everybody's got a different version of attainable. Some people that could be 15 grand. Some people it could be 100. I like to think that attainable to most people is like that $65,000, $70,000 range. That'll land you if you finance it for 5 or 6 years. It'll land you around $1,000 a month, and if you're prioritizing a car in your life, I think most people can probably swing that at a certain point. That puts you like the 360s. You got to be careful. You want to be able to get a decent model, a decent variant of it, and not like a whatever flood damage car for that. But like you can get a nice Porsche or Ferrari even for that. But then you have the maintenance fees. So it really depends on your tolerance to.
And what your style is. Maybe you don't want exotics. You can also go muscle car and classics. There's attainable
and
dream
the other
cars
thing
there.
is usually there's a trade-off. Like you buy a Ferrari, you're not going to have depreciation, but you'll have maintenance.
Yeah.
So,
all right, so
6 of one, half a dozen of the other. There is always going to be a cost. But everybody, different dream cars. I think a Viper is a great car if you're looking for like a nice, reliable car. Even Corvette, the ZR1, the 09's, good, solid car in that price range. Or even the new Corvette is great, 70 grand. It's a phenomenal car.
Vipers are a great attainable dream car because they're pretty exciting. They stand out. They make good sounds. They
do have a good curb appeal.
They do, yeah, but they're not really a pain in the ass. They just kind of work. In fact, didn't I think it was you and some other people said that after a while it just sort of gets like, it just sort of works.
I like the thing that was cool about my Viper was that I could go to an exotic car show and fit in. I could go to a Cars and Coffee and fit in. I could go to a muscle car show and fit in. I could go to a top speed half-mile shootout and work there. I could go on a track and run it on a track. I could run it on a quarter mile. Literally, like there isn't anywhere that the Viper didn't really kind of fit in and not feel like it was an outsider. Like it just kind of worked.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, one more and then we'll get out of here.
Ooh, one more.
Send Rob back to his quarantine.
Skip the one I was looking at.
You want to do 2 more? We can do 2 more.
This one we just say no to. Someone asked if we've read anything about the Radenso Thea radar detector, and I went to their site, and it's not even available for pre-order yet, and it's coming in 2020.
Radenso Thea.
It's the first AI radar detector. So
AI, I can almost guarantee you that is the incorrect use of the term artificial intelligence.
But it's a great
or some scheme to get money on a GoFundMe and then shut
that. Yeah, it's a great cash grab.
Startup website.
Yo, Rob, here's a question for me. Have you ever given money for something for a GoFundMe and gotten like totally hosed?
Yep, absolutely.
What did you get hosed on?
There was it was a company I paid $250. It was they were making what was supposed to be like a battery like a battery pack, where you could plug your laptop in, your camera equipment, and charge like a refrigerator would work off of it.
Yeah.
And I pre-ordered it at like $250. Completely ghosted everybody after a while. Kept all the money, raised $100,000+.
Oh, it sucks. I supported something and I ended up getting the product, but the product was a piece of shit.
Yeah,
I got this thing, and I don't remember what it's called, but it was a camera that was on a swivel head, and it had a sensor that you would wear, and it would track you.
Videotape you.
It would
I saw that.
Yeah, I was like, this would be perfect for drive-bys.
Yeah.
But the motor couldn't make the camera, like it was really designed to be set up like 100 feet back on a beach and catch you surfing.
While you're playing golf or something.
Yeah, some very slow motion that it would capture from very far away. It could not handle drive-bys at all. Sure. And it was expensive. It was like $500.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got hosed. fully hosed. It's probably in that fucking closet.
You gotta
back
start
there
surfing.
somewhere.
You know what it's good for? If you're like a vlogger and you want to walk around your garage and talk, it's probably pretty good because it looks like you have a camera guy.
Yeah.
Even as a B cam, it's good to have that motion shot and everything like that. So it just ups the production quality a little.
Yeah, it didn't work very well.
Yeah.
All right, last one.
All right, last one. What racing series of any of them would we like to participate in if we had fuck you money?
Offshore powerboat racing.
Oh my God. Get ready for another spine surgery.
Baja 1000, I was going to say.
Baja 1000.
No,
Yeah, I'd probably do some sort of like Baja or something. Or the La Carrera, something that's sort of recreational. I don't get into the entering something where you win a trophy doesn't really do much for me.
Red
I'm
Bull
more
stunt
for fun
flying.
and being able to walk away in the end.
I would do the Milli Milia because Milli Milia
that's a
is
good one.
basically just the next level up of children being complete assholes in vintage cars, but for some reason is totally encouraged by most of Italy.
The Italians.
Yeah, it's because of Italy. Rob, you want to plug anything else? Drive Rob's Gotham Dream Cars C8 Corvette. GothamDreamCars.com.
Yeah, if you want to
Rent it
rent any of the
today.
cars, we got the C8 Corvette here. I'm discounting cars for this month until the quarantine's over.
Yeah.
So if you want your best chance to get behind the wheel of one of these things for a reasonable price,
Point A to point A drive is in order.
absolutely. And Bear Mountain, I was up there the other day, is empty, so it's nice.
Oh, fucking perfect. It's good. I mean, honestly, we're not supposed to be. Technically in LA, they said the Angeles Forest is closed to recreation, and I think they had to airlift somebody out of there. They had to crash and blah, blah, blah. They don't want to waste the resources, whatever. But I went 60 miles outside of town and had a great hike, and I went up there this morning, and I was filming completely by myself, and it was great.
Nice.
Thanks for calling in, Rob.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I'm
Thank
glad
you, Rob.
the
Nice seeing
mid-show
you.
call-in worked out. And, of course, Super Speeders Rob on YouTube. And
I may have to take Rob up on sending me some cookies that he offered to send me, so we'll do it off.
Yeah, Zach, hold it up. We got a new shirt. Rob, check this out. You'll love this. This is the Cannonball Run movie poster shirt. We got it on sale right now at our Blip Shift store. I believe it's just blipshift.com/TST is our Blip Shift store.
Very cool.
And I'll put it up on Instagram, and it's available in hoodies and t-shirts and long sleeve shirts. And I thought it was me as Dom DeLuise and Zach as Burt Reynolds, but I think it's me as Burt Reynolds and Zach as Roger Moore.
Yeah, I looked at the poster and I was like, oh wait, that's different. But it's if you've seen Cannonball Run, which is a ridiculous, like the ensemble cast is hilarious,
it's
and the
great.
movie's terrible
Everyone's
and funny.
drunk. Everybody in the film is drunk.
Like the whole time during filming, and there's
would've loved to have
Lamborghinis
been
and
there.
Jackie Chan, and there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
But the movie poster is what this was modeled after.
So blipshift.com/TST, get that shirt right now. And of course, go to omaze.com/thesmokingtire to enter to win that road trip across the Pacific Northwest on adventure drives with me and with Rob. And even, is Shivam going to be there?
Siobhan will be there.
Oh, so he's not
Whoa.
dead. Okay, he didn't die of leprosy.
Not dead
Good.
yet.
Good check. Everyone Google Shivam Parikh dead. Just keep that high in the rankings.
Yeah, just Siobhan Parikh. It auto-completes as dead.
It's the best. All right, Rob Ferretti on the Smoking Tire Podcast. The show is brought to you, or I should say it's powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. It's easy. All you need is a microphone, a connection to the internet, fucking Skype or Zoom, because we're quarantined up in this bitch, and something to say. I will see you guys next week. I have no fucking clue who's going to be on the show. Goodbye.